Willem de Kooning, one of the towering figures of 20th century art, was a pioneer of abstract expressionism, but defied being pigeonholed into any single artistic movement. His life and career were as dynamic as his works, filled with unexpected twists, relentless experimentation, and a profound impact on the art world. Here are the 15 facts you never knew about Willem de Kooning. 1. A humble beginning in Rotterdam. Willem de Kooning was born on April 24, 1904, in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, into a modest family. At the tender age of 12, he left school to apprentice at a design and decoration firm. This early exposure to craft and design laid the groundwork for his later explorations in art. The disciplined training in detail and precision likely influenced his later works, even as they became more abstract. 2. An illegal immigrant's journey to America. In 1926, seeking new opportunities, de Kooning immigrated to the United States illegally by stowing away on a ship. The journey was risky, but it marked the beginning of a transformative chapter in his life. Settling in New York City, he initially worked as a house painter and carpenter while pursuing his artistic ambitions. The WPA Federal Art Project. De Kooning briefly worked for the WPA Federal Art Project in 1935, a New Deal program that supported artists during the Great Depression. However, his lack of U.S. citizenship forced him to leave after less than 2 years. The project provided crucial support during a tough period, but de Kooning was always wary of being exposed as an undocumented immigrant. 4. Picasso is the man to beat. During the early days of his career, de Kooning struggled to make a name for himself. Competing with the avant-garde dominance of European artists like Pablo Picasso was daunting. He once famously remarked, "Picasso is the man to beat," signaling his determination to carve out his unique artistic identity. His perseverance paid off, and he eventually became one of the leading lights of abstract expressionism. 5. A tumultuous love story. In 1938, de Kooning met Elaine Fried, who would later become his wife. She was one of his drawing students and an accomplished artist in her own right. The couple married in 1943, but their relationship was far from smooth. Their union was marked by professional rivalry, financial struggles, infidelities, and alcohol abuse. Despite these challenges, they reunited in later years and shared a studio in Long Island, demonstrating their enduring bond. 6. His anxiety and alcohol struggles. By the early 1950s, de Kooning's intense anxiety and heart palpitations led him to self-medicate with alcohol. This often spiraled into binges that affected his personal and professional life. Yet his creative output during this time was remarkable, with works that showcased his evolving style and mastery of form. 7. The Women's Series. A bold departure. De Kooning's Women's Series, created in the early 1950s, marked a dramatic departure from the conventions of abstract expressionism. These figurative works were raw, visceral, and controversial, challenging critics and audiences alike. Some dismissed them as regressive, but others hailed them as revolutionary. One of these paintings, Woman na Paparsker, 1950-52, was acquired by the Museum of Modern Art, solidifying his place in the art world. 8. The motto: "You have to change to stay the same." Throughout his career, de Kooning continuously reinvented his style, often confounding critics and admirers. His philosophy was encapsulated in the now famous quote, "You have to change to stay the same." This relentless evolution kept his work fresh and relevant, ensuring his legacy as an artist who never stood still. 9. An erased drawing: the Rauschenberg collaboration. In 1953, a young Robert Rauschenberg approached de Kooning with an unusual request. He wanted one of his drawings to be erased as an artistic experiment. De Kooning agreed, selecting a piece that was deliberately challenging to erase. The resulting work, Erased de Kooning Drawing, became a groundbreaking piece in the conceptual art movement, symbolizing the tension between creation and destruction. 10. His move to East Hampton, a new chapter in life. By 1963, de Kooning sought a change from the bustling energy of New York City. He relocated to East Hampton, Long Island, designing and building his studio and home, a space that reflected his needs as an artist. This new chapter marked a shift in his lifestyle and work environment. The serene landscape allowed him to concentrate fully on his art, inspiring a series of fluid, colorful paintings often seen as lighter and more meditative compared to his earlier works. In East Hampton, de Kooning created a secluded haven, allowing him to engage in introspection and further refine his craft. Over time, the location became a hub of intellectual and creative exchanges as he hosted visits from notable figures like the Beatles' Paul McCartney. His move to East Hampton wasn't just about escape, it was about building a space where his imagination could thrive, isolated from the pressures of the New York art world. 11. His love for experimentation in paint. De Kooning wasn't content with traditional methods of painting. He consistently experimented with the properties of paint to suit his artistic vision. Adding unconventional materials like water or safflower oil to his paints, he altered their viscosity, making them more fluid and slippery. This allowed him to create his signature gestural, sweeping strokes with a unique texture and energy. This experimentation wasn't just about aesthetics, it was an extension of his philosophy. By manipulating his materials, de Kooning could respond instinctively to the canvas, blurring the boundaries between control and spontaneity. This fluidity became a hallmark of his work and demonstrated his commitment to innovation. 12. A long-delayed path to citizenship. Despite being a prominent figure in the American art scene for decades, de Kooning only became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1962, nearly 36 years after arriving in the country as an illegal immigrant. This milestone marked the end of a long, uncertain journey about his legal status. The recognition of his contributions to American art was formalized just 2 years later, in 1964, when President Lyndon B. Johnson awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This honor placed him among the most celebrated figures in the nation, symbolizing his transformation from a stowaway immigrant to a revered cultural icon. 13. A return to his homeland. After more than 4 decades away, de Kooning returned to the Netherlands in 1968 for a retrospective exhibition at the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam. The trip was deeply emotional and significant. It was not only his first time visiting his homeland since leaving in 1926, but also an acknowledgement of his status as a global art icon. The retrospective brought de Kooning full circle, celebrating the artist's journey from a modest upbringing in Rotterdam to the heights of international fame. For many in the Netherlands, the exhibition was an opportunity to claim him as one of their own, even though his most formative years and artistic breakthroughs occurred in the United States. 14. Battling dementia in his final years. By the late 1980s, de Kooning's mental health deteriorated due to dementia. His daughter, Lisa, was granted power of attorney to manage his affairs. While some critics questioned the authenticity of works created during this period, others argued that his art, rooted in intuition rather than intellect, retained its integrity. 15th. Legacy of experimentation. De Kooning's legacy is defined by his unyielding commitment to exploration and innovation. Whether working on his celebrated women's series, his gestural abstractions, or his later works, he constantly pushed boundaries, influencing generations of artists. His life, filled with challenges and triumphs, mirrors his art's dynamic and transformative power. Willem de Kooning was much more than a painter. He was a trailblazer who refused to be confined by artistic norms or societal expectations. His life story is a testament to resilience, creativity, and the enduring impact of art. Through his works, de Kooning continues to inspire and challenge, reminding us that the essence of creativity lies in constant reinvention.